She was surrounded by darkness. She felt a cold sweat on her forehead and a sharp pain in her chest, glowing red eyes staring at them from the shadows. A bolt of lightning crackled overhead, followed by a deafening thunderclap on the wall and her eyes in the dark. They screamed and ran for the door. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Scary Stories. I hope you have been enjoying the previous episodes of Scary Stories and are spooky enough to put you out of sleep for a bit. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding, seriously. Today I have 3 stories for you guys, and I thought I will try this video in a soft-spoken manner. The past 3 episodes were whispered scary stories, so I'm just trying out which suits the stories better. I don't know. Let's see. Anyway, get cozy, get a blanket, a warm drink, a Christmas drink, and let's get started. Okay, story number 1. The Lost Road. The night was dark and stormy, and the wind howled through the trees. A young woman named Maya was driving her car, trying to get home as soon as possible. She had just finished her shift at the hospital where she worked as a nurse. She was tired and hungry, and all she wanted was to curl up in her bed and forget about the horrors she had seen that day. She turned on the radio, hoping to find some music to keep her awake. She scanned through the stations, but all she heard was static and news reports about the mysterious disappearances that had been plaguing the town for the past few weeks. People were vanishing without a trace, leaving behind their belongings and families. The police had no clues and the public were terrified. Some said it was a serial killer, others said it was a cult, and some even said it was aliens. Maya shook her head, trying to ignore the fear that crept into her heart. She didn't believe in any of those things. She was a rational person, a woman of science. She believed in facts and evidence, not superstitions and myths. She told herself that there had to be a logical explanation for the disappearances, and that the authorities would find it soon. She looked at the clock on the dashboard. It was almost midnight. She wondered how much longer it would take her to reach her apartment. She had taken a shortcut through the woods, hoping to save some time, but the road was narrow and winding, and the rain made it slippery and dangerous. She regretted her decision, wishing she had taken the longer but safer route. She slowed down as she approached a sharp curve. She saw a sign that warned her to reduce speed. She pressed the brake pedal, but nothing happened. She panicked, realizing that her brakes had failed. She tried to steer the car, but it was too late. She lost control of the vehicle and it skidded off the road. She screamed as she saw a large tree looming in front of her. She braced herself for the impact, but it never came. She opened her eyes, expecting to see blood and broken glass, but she saw nothing. She was surrounded by darkness. She felt a cold sweat on her forehead and a sharp pain in her chest. She tried to move, but she couldn't. She was trapped in her seat, unable to escape. She reached for her phone, hoping to call for help, but she couldn't find it. It was gone, along with her keys, her purse, and everything else in the car. She felt a surge of terror, realizing that she was alone and helpless. She wondered if anyone would find her or if she would die here. She wondered if this was how the other missing people had felt before they disappeared. She wondered if she was next. She heard a sound, a faint whisper in her ear. She turned her head, trying to see who was there, but she saw no one. She felt a breath on her neck, a touch on her shoulder. She shuddered, feeling a cold hand caressing her face. She heard a voice, a low and sinister voice that chilled her to the bone. "Hello, Maya," it said. "I've been waiting for you." Oh my god, you guys, I don't quite enjoy these kind of stories because it doesn't exactly tell you the end, and it sort of leaves it to your imagination, and it doesn't leave me spooked enough. Well, let's move on to story number 2. Story number 2, camping. It was supposed to be a fun weekend getaway for 4 friends, Jake, Mia, Ryan, and Leah. They had planned to go camping in the woods near a lake where they could enjoy some fishing, hiking, and stargazing. They had packed their tents, sleeping bags, food, and flashlights and set off on a Friday afternoon, eager to escape the city and reconnect with nature. They arrived at the campsite around dusk and quickly set up their tents near a clearing. They lit a fire and roasted some marshmallows, chatting and laughing about their lives. Jack and Mia were a couple, and they had been friends with Ryan and Leah since college. They had a lot of shared memories and jokes, and they felt comfortable and relaxed in each other's company. They decided to go for a walk around the lake before calling it a night. They grabbed their flashlights and followed a trail that led to the water's edge. The moon was bright and full, casting a silver glow on the calm surface of the lake. They admired the scenery and breathed in the fresh air, feeling a sense of peace and wonder. They walked for about half an hour until they reached a point where the trail curved back to the campsite. They were about to turn around when they heard a strange noise coming from the woods. It sounded like a low growl, followed by a loud snap of a twig. "Did you hear that?" Mia whispered. "Yeah, what was that?" Ryan asked. "Maybe it's a bear," Leah suggested. "Or a wolf," Jack added. They shone their flashlights into the darkness, but they couldn't see anything. They decided to head back to the campsite, hoping that whatever made the noise would leave them alone. They quickened their pace, trying to act calm but feeling nervous. They were almost back to the clearing when they heard the noise again. This time it was closer and louder. It sounded like a mix of a howl and a scream, and it sent shivers down their spines. They turned around and saw a pair of glowing red eyes staring at them from the shadows. They gasped and dropped their flashlights, plunging them into darkness. They heard a thud as something heavy landed on the ground behind them. They felt a hot breath on their necks and a sharp pain in their backs as claws tore through their flesh. They screamed and tried to run, but it was too late. They were dragged into the woods one by one by a creature that was neither human nor animal, but something else, something evil, a skinwalker. The friends were dragged deeper into the woods by the unseen force, their screams echoing through the night. Their struggle against the unknown entity was futile, and they found themselves ensnared in a nightmare beyond comprehension. The creature, a skinwalker cloaked in darkness, moved swiftly through the dense forest. Its evil intentions palpable, it led them deeper into the heart of the forest, where the moon's feeble light struggled to penetrate the thick canopy above. Amidst the chaos and terror, Jake, Mia, Ryan, and Leah found themselves separated, each struggling to break free from the creature's hold. They fought against the unseen force, desperately attempting to hold on to one another in the darkness. Suddenly, a blinding flash of light pierced the night sky. A bolt of lightning crackled overhead, followed by a deafening thunderclap. In that momentary illumination, they caught a fleeting glimpse of the creature, a grotesque amalgamation of human and animal features, twisted and evil. Ryan, seizing the opportunity presented by the distraction, grabbed Mia's hand and dashed through the underbrush, veering away from the creature's path. Jack and Leah, disoriented but determined, followed suit, their hearts pounding with adrenaline-fueled terror. They raced through the tangled vegetation, navigating the treacherous terrain, their only aim to escape the clutches of the evil entity. The woods seemed endless, the night stretching on, the haunting cries of the creature echoing in the distance. Despite their fear and exhaustion, a glimmer of hope flickered within them as they stumbled upon a clearing, bathed in the soft glow of the moonlight. They paused to catch their breath, the distant sounds of the creature's pursuit urging them to keep moving. In that fleeting moment of respite, they realized they had lost sight of each other. Amidst the chaos of their escape, panic surged within them, but they knew they had to regroup and find a way out of the nightmare that had befallen them. Ryan, Mia, Jake, and Leah called out to each other, their voices quivering with a mixture of fear and determination. Then a rustle from the shadows drew their attention. Out emerged Sarah, the hiker who had stumbled upon the remnants of their campsite earlier. She approached cautiously, her flashlight illuminating the anxious faces of the friends. "Are you all right? What happened here?" Sarah's voice carried a mix of concern and curiosity. Relief washed over the group as they recounted the harrowing events that led to their escape from the clutches of the unknown creature. Sarah listened intently, her expression grave as she absorbed their tale of horror. As the night wore on, Sarah offered them refuge and safety. With the dawn on the horizon, she vowed to help them navigate the treacherous woods and find their way back to the civilization. With newfound hope and a guardian in Sarah, they braced themselves for the challenges that lay ahead, knowing that their ordeal was far from over. Together, they stood at the edge of the clearing, surrounded by the mysteries of the forest, their spirits resilient despite the looming shadows. The friends and their newfound ally prepared to embark on their journey, their bond and determination serving as their beacon of hope in the face of the unknown horrors lurking within the woods. The end. That was okay. I would have passed out in that situation. Story number 3: The Old Woman in the Attic. She had lived in the house for as long as anyone could remember. She never came out, except at night, when she would roam the halls and make strange noises. No one knew her name or where she came from or why she stayed. Some said she was a witch, some said she was a ghost, some said she was a mad woman. But no one dared to disturb her or enter her attic room. Until one day, a young couple moved into the house. They were looking for a cheap place to stay, and they didn't mind the rumors about the old woman. They thought they could ignore her or maybe even befriend her. They were wrong. The first night, they heard her footsteps above their bedroom. They heard her creaking the floorboards and dragging something heavy. They heard her muttering to herself and laughing softly. They tried to sleep, but they couldn't. They were too scared. The second night, they heard her knocking on their door. They heard her scratching the wood and tapping the knob. They heard her whispering their names and asking them to let her in. They locked the door and hid under the covers. They hoped she would go away, but she didn't. The third night, they heard her breaking the window. They heard her shattering the glass and climbing inside. They heard her crawling on the floor and breathing heavily. They saw her shadow on the wall and her eyes in the dark. They screamed and ran for the door, but it was too late. She was faster than them and stronger than them. She grabbed them by the hair and dragged them to the attic. She threw them on the floor and locked the door. She smiled and showed them her teeth. They were sharp and stained with blood. The young couple, sensing the impending danger, exchanged a silent glance filled with determination. They knew they had to act fast to escape the clutches of the evil old woman haunting the attic. As the old woman circled them, her eyes glinting with a sinister delight, the couple scanned their surroundings for anything that could aid their escape. Their gazes fell upon an ancient-looking mirror tucked away in a corner of the attic. With a surge of desperate hope, they grabbed the dusty mirror, its frame adorned with ornate carvings that seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. Holding it up, they focused their gaze on the old woman's reflection. "Back to the shadows where you came from," the couple exclaimed in unison, channeling their combined willpower into the mirror. A blinding light erupted from the reflective surface, enveloping the attic in a dazzling cascade of colors. The old woman shrieked and recoiled, as if being pulled into the mirror itself. Her figure struggled against the force, clawing at the air with gnarled hands. In an instant, the old woman vanished into the mirror, her haunting presence sealed within its depths. The room fell silent, the only sound the couple's heavy breathing and the gentle hum emanating from the now quiet mirror. Exhausted but triumphant, the couple collapsed onto the attic floor, relief flooding their senses. They knew that while the old woman was trapped within the mirror, they needed to ensure it remained confined. With careful deliberation, they covered the mirror with a heavy cloth and encased it within a sturdy chest. Sealing it shut with an ancient lock they found amidst the attic's forgotten treasures. They vowed never to open it, lest the evil spirit be unleashed once more. As the days passed, their house regained a sense of calmness and tranquility. The rumors of the old woman's haunting slowly faded, replaced by tales of the brave young couple who had vanquished the dark presence. With newfound courage and a shared bond forged through their harrowing experience, the couple embarked on a mission to uncover the secrets of the house. They researched its history, discovering hidden passages and forgotten tales buried within its walls. Their journey began a testament to courage and resilience, and they eventually transformed the old house into a haven for those seeking refuge from the unknown. Guided by their bravery, their house became a beacon of hope, a place where stories of triumph over darkness were shared with all who dared to listen. And as the years passed, the old woman's tale faded into legend, a reminder of the couple's unwavering resolve to face the unknown and emerge victorious. The attic remained locked, preserving the secrets within, while the couple's legacy of courage echoed through the halls, ensuring that the house would forever be a sanctuary for those seeking solace and redemption. The end. Okay, guys, this story wraps up today's Scary Stories episode. Let me know if you enjoyed these stories. Please leave your suggestions in the comments below. And if you have any scary stories to share, I love to hear them. And if you'd like, I could even read them in one of the episodes. Thank you so much for tuning in to me. And until next time, hasta luego. Ciao.